Yes. It should be. Yeah, we started to kind of dump.
Hello. Good, you? 1 more minute, folks.
Smile, see. Look up. For the monthly report, love, thank you. I don't think it was looking at you last week.
I think so.
Hi. It's what it's here. Yes, your weekend. Okay. I'll do that. Everybody.
Email.
Put your cell phones on silent.
Sorry.
That's it. Also, this is being recorded. You can, if you missed something or you want to rewatch, you can go on our YouTube channel and watch that.
Jennifer, grab the microphone, please. There we go.
Thank you, Deb.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just a reminder, as my colleague Maria has mentioned, if you can put your cell phones on silent or vibrate. And the session is being recorded for those people attending via Zoom. So we're just asking you to please maybe not get up and pass in front of the camera, just because it disturbs those people who are also viewing the presentation online. So without any further ado, good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of You've Got to Read This. My name is Jennifer Heisman. I'm joined by Yael Belanger, Marie Stevenson, and the library director, Janine West. We have a great lineup, or what we think is a great lineup of books for you today. Hopefully, we'll be able to get you started with some summer reads. So without further ado, I'm going to get things started. Can you all hear me? It's not too loud. It's not perfect. Okay. Do you fancy a vacation on the Amalfi Coast while staying in one of its idyllic pastel-colored villas overlooking the sea, sipping limoncello, inhaling the intoxicating scent of the flower bougainvillea? If yes, then I have got just the summer read for you. It's called The Amalfi Curse. It's my first book by Sarah Penner. The story weaves a captivating dual timeline narrative that blends historical fiction with magic realism, set against the stunning backdrop of Italy's Amalfi Coast. It explores themes of family legacy, sacrifice, and the enduring power of love across the centuries. In the present, nautical archaeologist Haven Ambrose and her team are convergent on Positano for a major project. The Amalfi Coast of Positano has been a graveyard for ships for centuries, to the point where the wrecks are so jumbled together it's been impossible to make sense of the puzzle for archaeological purposes, until now, that is. Behind Haven's professional venue lies a personal quest to recover the mysterious gemstones her father discovered on his final dive before his death. It's that treasure that links Haven's story of the present to Mari's trials and tribulations in 1821. Mari was the leader of the, and I hope I'm going to pronounce this correctly, so for those of you who speak Italian, please forgive me because my pronunciation is probably going to be off. So Mari was the leader of the Streghe del Mare di Pastiano, which is the witches of Positano who protected their fishing village through ocean magic. Despite her power, though, Mari resents the sea and plans to escape with her secret lover, American sailor Holmes Folster. But when women begin being kidnapped from the village, Mari must make a terrible choice that will either alter the fate of everyone she loves. As Haven digs deeper into maritime archives, she discovers Holmes's journal and unravels the startling truth. The legendary Amalfi curse may be more than folklore, and someone in the present day is invoking ancient powers once again. One of the things I loved about this book is, without a doubt, the Italian setting. The Amalfi Coast really comes alive at both timelines. I love the many descriptions of the village of Positano in both the past and the present. Penner's meticulous research really shines throughout the entire book. The author crafts a convincing 19th century Positano, from the fishermen's daily routines to the intricate details of sailing vessels. The novel's greatest strength may be Penner's atmospheric writing, particularly in passages describing the sea. Such passages do more than set the scene, they establish the sea as a character itself, unpredictable, powerful, and indifferent to human desires. Both Mari and Haven are wonderfully complex characters whose strengths and flaws drive the narrative. Mari's conflicted relationship with her supernatural abilities, resenting yet relying on them, gives her journey emotional weight. Similarly, Haven's grief over her father manifests in her single-minded determination, making her both admirably resilient and frustratingly stubborn. This intoxicating story blends old world magic and modern day mystery with a dash of amore. This book will have you Googling flights to Positano immediately. It's perfect for fans of female-driven historical fiction and fantasy with just the right amount of intrigue. For readers of Kate Morton's multi-generational mysteries, Silviano Morano Garcia's historical fantasy, or Susanna Kersley's time-slip novels. My next title is The Berlin Apartment by Brian Turnbull. It's the second on your list. The story begins in Berlin in 1961 when Uli proposes to Lise just before the East was separated from the West, leaving the couple on separate sides of the wall. The story is told in third person, following the couple, family, and friends during this difficult time, and is interspersed with letters which may or may not have been received. Liz met Uli while attending university in West Berlin to become a doctor. She had special distinction to attend the university. When the wall goes up, she is stuck in East Berlin, and her hopes of becoming a doctor are dashed. Uli and his close friends, who also have loved ones in East Berlin, start to strategize how they can sneak them out safely. They are aided in this endeavor by Lisa's best friend, Ingrid, who's a Swedish citizen who can move between the two areas legally, but she must be careful not to draw the interest of the authorities. Uli and Lise are not the only individuals whose lives have been disrupted and interrupted by government actions. The erection of the Berlin Wall was a shocking turn of events that caught many families and couples off guard and unprepared. Who knew that a trip across town to attend a class or a trip home to see your dad would result in a 30-year separation or change the trajectory of your life? Can you imagine the horror, the fear, and desperation of lives who were separated? The Berlin Apartment is not a romance, in my opinion. It's a love story. What's the difference, you ask? In a romance, the romance is the central focus. Without the romance, there is no story. Whereas a love story can include a romance, but the story is more than the romance and can stand alone without it. While romance drives the plot in this book, there's a lot more to the story than just that. We have political ideologies, rescue, living the life you are given and not the life you desire, loss of control of your life, living your best life in difficult circumstances, desperation, and grief. The important question about the romance in this story is if love can survive a prolonged and stressful separation. In the Berlin Apartment, we see what life was like under two ideologies, socialism and capitalism. The book is for fans of Kate Quinn and Kristen Hanna. This sweeping love story follows a young couple whose lives are irrevocably changed when separated overnight by the construction of the Berlin Wall. My next title for you is The Resistance Painter by Kath Jonathan. This is an evocative work of historical fiction examining the little-known story of Poland's extraordinary World War II resistance army and the contemporary lives of two artists, a grandmother and a granddaughter who are linked by a wartime betrayal. The Resistance Painter is at heart a mystery. The setting intertwines two timelines and two countries, World War II in Warsaw and current-day Toronto. It's told with 2 points of view, an artist Irina who aspires to paint at a Parisian art school, and her granddaughter Jo who creates commissioned sculptures for grave sites. The mystery underlying this tale begins when Jo interviews an elderly Polish man who wishes to commission a sculpture. Stephen survived the war, and in his interviews with Jo, he describes himself as having been a resistance fighter in Warsaw, guiding people through the sewers to escape the Nazis. Irina had conducted similar harrowing missions in Warsaw, which plants a question in Jo's mind. Could Stephen and Irina have known each other? The possibility of an association nags at Jo as she cares for Irina. And this is where I'm going to stop talking about the story because I don't want to give more spoilers away. All that to say is that the author has fully developed her characters. We know their aspirations, their memories, families, friendships, lovers, and horrors. The settings are vivid from the wartime Warsaw with its neighborhoods and sewers to the Mount Pleasant Cemetery. Overall, The Resistance Painter is an insightful, emotional, beautifully written debut by Kath Jonathan, inspired by real-life familiar events that remind us that survival of any kind often involves heartbreaking choices, moral dilemmas, action, extreme loss, and beyond all else, unimaginable sacrifice and courage. The Resistance Painter will resonate with fans of the Berlin apartment, which coincidentally we just talked about. The Secret History of Audrey James, The Woman with the Blue Star, The Book of Lost Names, The Tattooist of Auschwitz, The German Girl, and The Dutch Wife, confronting questions about the stories we tell about our lives and whether buried secrets should stay buried. My last selection for today is the book of Troublesome Women by Marie Bostwick. This is a USA Today bestseller and it's the most anticipated book of 2025. Bostwick's latest book is ideal for fans of historical fiction and those who enjoyed Bonnie Gurman's Lessons in Chemistry, Kristen Hanna's The Women, and Kate Quinn, The Beer Club, which explore the historical roles of women and the challenges they face within a society structured to define and limit their roles in and out of the home. For housewives, Margaret Ryan, Dave Buscetti, and Bitsy Cobb, life should be grand. It's the early 1960s, and they live in an idyllic suburb in North Virginia. They have stable lives and stable husbands. What more can one ask for, you ask? But each woman feels that something is missing. When Margaret decides to start a book club, the others agree out of boredom and searching for something to occupy their time. When Charlotte Gustafson, the eccentric new arrival to the community, suggests they read Betty Friedan's recently released novel, The Feminine Mystique, the women have no idea that their ideals and feelings about their own lives to this point are about to be put to the test. Before they know it, each of them is forced to acknowledge the missing pieces of their life and the sense of unfulfillment that follows them wherever they go. Just a bit of background here. Betty Friedan's groundbreaking novel, The Feminine Mystique, was published in 1963 and sought to challenge the post-World War II notion that women only existed to function as wives and mothers and nothing more. Friedan coined the term feminine mystique to describe the prevalent notions of the period that women were expected to be content with their tasks as mothers, with their marriages, and with domestic chores day in and day out. In shedding light on the unhappiness of many housewives across America, the novel helped jumpstart a cultural revolution for women who had felt silenced for generations. It stands to reason that this novel would have had an impact on many women in similar positions who read it at the time of its publication. What starts out as a fun respite from their everyday life becomes a test of their relationships in their lives, and they will all need to decide whether they're willing to fight for their dreams and stir up a little trouble along the way. The book club for Troublesome Women is humorous and thought-provoking, as well as an ode to self-discovery, persistence, and the power of sisterhood. Marie Boswick has crafted a story that speaks to generations, both past and present, and taps into societal issues that affect women of all ages, even today. So those are my 4 titles, which are all on your handout. And now I'd like to leave you with a few selections of titles that you should maybe possibly discover over the summer. The first one is The Wedding by Jurjinder Basra. This is an electrifying novel about the joining of 2 South Asian families and the secrets, resentments, and unspoken truths boiling just beneath the surface. The Wedding invites readers behind the scenes of your not-so-typical Indian wedding, sometimes delightful, sometimes salacious, and always fraught with familiar intrigue. This is a richly textured novel, wonderfully imagined as well. Next up is All the Other Mothers Hate Me by Sarah Harmon. A biting, twisty, utter delight of a thriller with a refreshing and clever premises. What happens when the person who goes missing kind of deserves to go missing? You're going to end up rooting for Florence, this hilarious, unreliable party girl who will go to any lengths to protect her son. Imagine Big Little Lies after one too many glasses of wine, stumbling around into a whodunit. Put this at the top of your to-be-read list. Next up is the Martha's Vineyard Beach and Book Club by Martha Hall Kelly, who is the New York Times bestselling author of Lilac Girls. 2 sisters living on Martha's Vineyard during World War II find hope in the power of storytelling when they start a wartime book club for women in the spectacular novel inspired by true events. The title and the cover are a little misleading. They feel a lot lighter than the story actually is, so you should give it a chance. This book should be one of your top 2025 reads. Lastly is The Museum Detective by Maha Khan Phillips. Inspired by a real-life antiquity scandal in Pakistan, this gripping series debut introduces an archaeologist, Dr. Gul Delani, whose investigation into the discovery of a mummy gets complicated and personal when it collides with her years-long search for a missing family member. It's perfect for fans of Sue Grafton and Elsa Hart. And honestly, what's not to love? Mummies, murder, gangsters, and a dash of Indiana Jones. This is a most anticipated book of 2025 and the most anticipated crime fiction book of 2025. With that, I'm going to turn over to Danielle.
Jennifer, are they all there?
Yes. Yes.
They're all also at library.
Good afternoon, everyone. Librarian Danielle Bélanger here. Today, I'm excited to share recommendations with you for your summer reading. The 4 titles I'll discuss are The Paris Express by Emma Donoghue, Heartwood by Amity Gage, Broken Country by Claire Leslie Hall, and Count My Lies by Sophie Stava. After, I'll give a tiny sneak peek of 4 more that I consider ideal summer reads that have either recently been released or are set to come out shortly. Today, I'll speak about The Paris Express first by Emma Donoghue. This one. Emma Donoghue is an Irish-Canadian novelist, screenwriter, playwright, and literary historian. She was nominated for an Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay of her novel Room and a Giller Prize for The Pull of the Stars. Her 2010 novel Room was a finalist for the Booker Prize and an international bestseller. This novel, her 16th, will keep you on the edge of your seat from beginning to end. Upon learning she would be spending a year in France, the author was inspired by an internet search of the region in which she'd be staying, namely Montparnasse, and the jaw-dropping images of the infamous 1895 train derailment that left the mammoth steam locomotive dangling like a toy in a sometimes truth is stranger than fiction moment recorded forever in time. I apologize, I meant to bring in an image, but I forgot. This historical fiction follows a diverse group of passengers from Brittany, Russia, Ireland, Algeria, Pennsylvania, and Cambodia aboard a crowded train. Locomotion and the intentions of its passengers drive the narrative. Members of Parliament rush back to Paris for a vote. A medical student fears for a dying girl. A secretary champions moving pictures to her boss. 2 railway workers secretly lead double lives, and a young anarchist plots mischief. plots mischief, big mischief. These are just a few vignettes from the novel. Set during the tumultuous Belle Époque at the dawn of the 20th century, themes of class, gender, and race significantly shape the characters' lives. Some characters struggle against adversity, while others enjoy unearned privilege. Despite the novel's focus on intimate settings that heighten relationships and tensions, a vast gulf separates the characters socially and economically. I'm also very excited to announce today, for the first time, that we will be hosting Emma Donahue in person this fall. You're the very first people to find out, so please stay tuned for the official launch of our annual Cote-Saint-Luc Reads program next month. The Paris Express by Emma Donahue is relatable today due to its exploration of timeless themes like social inequality, the impact of technology, and the human condition, all set against the backdrop of a societal turning point in the late 19th century France. The novel uses the 1895 Montparnasse train crash as a catalyst to examine these issues, making them resonate with today's readers. Themes of social inequity, impacts of new technologies, the importance of human connection, and the rise of social anxieties feel equally relevant 130 years later. My second title is Heartwood by Amity Gage. This is a different cover. The cover you'll see at the library features a woman's face that looks like a tree. Amity Gage is an American novelist known for her critically acclaimed books, including Oh My Darling, The Folded Word, Schroeder, and Sea Wife. Heartwood is her fifth novel. It was selected as a Read with Jenna pick for April 2025 and became an instant national bestseller. It has been called the best thriller of 2025 by the Boston Globe and the best book of the year so far by the New York Times and Amazon. Why all the buzz is what you might be asking yourselves right now. Heartwood is a mesmerizing novel that captures the precariousness of being alive. The story centers on a woman who has lost her way both literally and figuratively, and the community of professionals and big-hearted volunteers who are thoroughly and desperately invested in finding her and learning what might have possibly set her down the wrong path. An experienced hiker on the Appalachian, and this is a controversial word, trail, disappears in the middle of the Maine woods. She is Valerie Gillis, 42, and she has disappeared 200 miles from where she was supposed to be. As she contends with the elements and tries to maintain hope in a race against time, Valerie, alone in the bush, writes her thoughts down in shattered, beautiful letters to her mother. At the center of the investigation is Beverly, the resolute Maine state game warden assigned to locate Valerie, who spearheads the search efforts on site. Concurrently, Helena, a 76-year-old bird watcher living in a Connecticut retirement community, unexpectedly takes on the role of an armchair detective. As the story shifts between these intriguing narratives, a mystery unfolds, heightening the urgency of the search, as Valerie's vanishing may not be a mere accident. Heartwood distinguishes itself from conventional lost hiker stories by emphasizing the psychological and emotional experiences of its characters, rather than merely concentrating on survival and adventure. The novel examines the internal conflicts of the missing hiker and the people engaged in the search, employing various perspectives and narrative techniques to investigate themes of loss, identity, and the intricacies of human relationships. This moving novel is unique because it highlights the inner conflicts of its protagonists and examines the dynamics of their relationships with one another. It also presents a variety of perspectives and points of view, uses an unusual format that incorporates interviews, which is quite interesting to read, and has a poetic tone. My third title is this one, Broken Country by Claire Leslie Hall. Claire Leslie Hall is a novelist and journalist who lives in the wilds of Dorset, England with her family. Under the name of Claire Empson, she published 2 domestic noir thrillers, Him and Mine, that were published in the UK and Germany. Broken Country is her US debut. Broken Country is about a very passionate love triangle that takes place in a small Dorset village during the 1960s and culminates with a murder trial at the Old Bailey. It's the story of Beth, who is completely torn between 2 very different men, her kind, loyal, down-to-earth husband, Frank, and Gabriel, her first love, who is handsome, romantic, and creative, and newly returned to the village as a famous author. From the opening line, you know a man has died, and there's a question mark over who killed him. This page-turner combines a courtroom drama, a mystery, and an epic love story into one cohesive whole. Broken Country garnered significant buzz because of its gripping plot, well-developed characters, and distinctive fusion of genres, including aspects of thrillers, family dramas, and love stories. Its emotional depth, surprising turns, and exploration of themes of love, loss, and resiliency were all lauded by book bloggers and social media critics. Its popularity was also influenced by the dramatic multi-decade love triangle and the dual chronology framework. If you are a fan of Where the Crawdads Sing, this is a great recommendation for you. A dual timeline narrative, a strong feeling of place, and an emphasis on themes of love, grief, and secrets in a rural setting are characteristics that both novels have in common. Additionally, a female protagonist in both novels must navigate intricate relationships and make very tough decisions. Okay, my 4th title is Count My Lies by Sophie Stava. Sophie Stava received her BA in English Literature from the University of California, Santa Barbara. She currently resides in Southern California with her family. Count My Lies is her debut novel. It was a Goodreads Reader's Favorite Mystery and Thriller winner in 2024 and was also the March 2025 Good Morning America Book Club pick. It's been described as a suspenseful, twisty, and bitingly smart thriller. A compulsive liar, Sloane Caraway utilizes her skill to land a new position as a nanny for an affluent family in New York. Sloane discovers that she might not be the only one with secrets in this compelling thriller where everything is not as it seems. Because of its gripping combination of suspense, fully realized characters, and examination of difficult subjects, Count My Lies is a highly enjoyable read. The psychological thriller elements, along with the examination of human nature and the fallibility of appearances, make for an engrossing read. It features an engaging plot, relatable characters, a multitude of twists and turns, hidden truths, a suspenseful atmosphere, and a satisfying resolution. Interesting fact about this last pick for those who enjoy stories coming to life on the small screen. Lindsay Lohan is set to star in and executive produce the highly anticipated television series of Count My Lies. It is currently in development at Hulu. Finally, here's a list of 4 titles that I recommend to read next because they're not quite in yet or just came out like the last one. The View from Lake Como by Adriana Trigiani features a young Italian-American woman who, after a divorce and moved back into her parents' basement in Lake Como, New Jersey, embarks on a journey of self-discovery to Italy. Next, These Summer Storms by Sarah McLean tells the story of Alice, who returns to her family's private island after 5 years of estrangement following a falling out with her father. The third one, A Beautiful Family by Jennifer Trevelyan, takes place over the course of one summer vacation when a family is pulled into a web of mysteries that the younger daughter sets out to solve. And the last one, last but not least, The Listeners by Maggie Stiefvater is described as a mesmerizing portrait of an irresistible heroine, an unlikely romance, and a hotel and a world in peril. And now next is my colleague Marie.
Hello. So this is usually where I say now for the lighter part of our program. However, this year, I'm going to pleasantly surprise you. Also, while putting this together, I realized that my first 4 titles are all by Asian authors. You could say that I was inspired by May, which was Asian Heritage Month. That being said, if I fumble any of the pronunciations of the names, I apologize. So the first book I'd like to share is a quiet, deeply touching novel that stayed with me long after I turned the last page. It's The Curious Kitten at the Chevineko Kitchen by Gupta Takahashi. And I have to say, this is absolutely my favorite book on my list. If I get a little emotional talking about it, I apologize. It's a very, very fast novel. You can read it in a few hours. So it is set in a sleepy seaside town in Japan. The story follows Kotoko, a woman grieving the recent loss of her younger brother. One day, lost in sorrow, she wanders into a hidden little restaurant called the Chevineko Kitchen. It's run by a calm, intuitive young chef named Kai and is watched over by an observant kitten named Chibi. But this isn't just a restaurant. It serves kagaizen, meals prepared with care and memory, meant to reconnect people with their departed loved ones. When Kotoko is served a dish her brother used to make for her, she's granted a magical, fleeting chance to see and speak with him one last time. That moment, unexpected, emotional, healing, is something I think everyone can relate to. Because if we're honest, isn't that something we all wish for? Just one more meal with someone we've lost. One more conversation, one more shared memories. I'm getting emotional. It's such a good book. The novel isn't flashy or fast-paced. Its beauty lies in the small moments, the way food becomes the language of love and loss, the way grief is treated with patience and compassion, the way memory lingers in even the smallest of dishes. The writing is warm and richly sensory. You can almost taste the broth, feel the steam rise from a bowl of rice, smell the faint sweetness of simmering soy. As Kotoko spends time at the Chevineko Kitchen and meets others carrying their own losses, she slowly learns that healing isn't about forgetting. It's about remembering with intention and allowing those memories to guide you forward. This book will especially appeal to fans of Before the Coffee Gets Cold or The Midnight Library. Stories where gentle magic touches real human emotion. But surely The Curious Kitten at the Chevineko Kitchen is for anyone who has ever missed someone and wished for one more moment. It reminds us that love doesn't end with goodbye. It lingers in recipes, in stories, and sometimes in places that feel like magic. I'll leave you with this little short quote. Sometimes the smallest meal holds the deepest memories, and in the quietest moments, the heart finds its way back to those we love. This is such a lovely book. Please read. Okay, my second book today is The Rainfall Market by Yu Yongguan. So my second book is a quiet, magical, and deeply contemplative novel that completely transported me. The Rainfall Market by Yu Yongguan, a South Korean poet and writer known for his lyrical storytelling and emotional depth. At the heart of the story is Serin, a young woman stuck in a life weighed down by grief, loneliness, and a sense of invisibility. Her world feels gray and stagnant, until one day she receives an unexpected invitation, a single-use ticket to a place called the Rainfall Market. A mysterious and otherworldly bazaar that appears only during the rainy season. Guided by a magical, sharp-witted cat named Isha, Sirin enters a surreal, dreamlike space filled with shops that don't sell objects, but lives. Lives that offer the chance to escape, to reinvent yourself, or to relive a path you've never took. She meets dokebi, mischievous spirits from Korean folklore who run the stalls, each one offering a different version of what the future could be. But there's a catch. Serene only has 7 days to choose a new life. If she fails to decide, she'll be trapped in the market forever. As the days pass and the rain continues to fall, Serene faces a profound question. If you could live any life you wanted, what would you be willing to give up to have it? This novel is far more than a fantasy. It's a meditation on choice, regret, and the hidden pain many people carry. It invites us to think about how we define happiness and whether the lives we dream of would actually make us whole. What I loved most about The Rainfall Market It doesn't offer any easy answers. Instead, it gently nudges us to sit with uncertainty, to find meaning in small moments, and to reconsider what makes a life worth living. The writing is lyrical and poetic, but which makes sense given the author's background as a poet. And the atmosphere is mysterious, melancholy, and yet hopeful. It lingers long after you finish. If you enjoy books like speculative elements are used to explore very human emotions, The Rainfall Market is a beautiful introspective journey. It's for anyone who has ever wished they could start over, but also for anyone learning to stay. Okay. Next, I'm excited to share a delightful and heartwarming romance that blends tradition, music, and a touch of fate. Yin Yang Love Story by Lauren Kung Gesem. You didn't think I could go the whole time without throwing in a little romance, did you? So set in the picturesque Pacific Northwest of the US, the story follows chrysanthemum Chrissy Hua Williams, a Chinese herbalist and acupuncturist who specializes in healing heartbreaks. Chrissy and her aunts run a retreat center where they use traditional Chinese medicine, or TCM, to help people recover from emotional wounds. However, Chrissy is haunted by a family curse. Every woman in the Hua family is doomed to never find lasting love. After several painful breakups, she's resigned herself to a loveless existence. Then along comes Vin Chow, one half of the famous Chow brothers cello duo, known as the Heartbreakers. Thanks to their musical talent and irresistible charm, when a viral photo connects them publicly, Vin proposes a fake dating arrangement. He'll help boost Chrissy's business in exchange for her playing his pretend girlfriend, giving him cover while his brother recovers from a personal crisis. They plan to go their separate ways by the end of June. But of course, things don't go according to plan. As Chrissy and Vin spend more time together, the pretend feelings start to feel very real, and they begin to question what fate may actually have in store. This book is a sweet and vibrant spin on the classic fake dating trope. It's filled with humor, chemistry, and cultural richness, from Chinese medicine and food to reflections on family, expectations, and emotional healing. The alternating perspectives between Chrissy and Vin give readers a lovely view into both of their emotional journeys as their guarded hearts slowly open. Yin Yang Love Story is a romantic, uplifting read for anyone who loves stories about second chances, family, and the possibility that love just might find you when you least expect it. It reminds us that even when we feel broken, love, like music or healing, has a way of finding harmony again. If you're a fan of feel-good romances with a touch of magic and tradition, Yin Yang Love Story is a delightful read that will leave you smiling. So, my last book of my first four is The Gate to Kagoshima by Poppy Kuroki. It's a beautifully immersive novel that combines historical drama, romance, and a moving exploration of identity, family, and self-discovery. At the center of the story is a fascinating time travel element that moves between modern Tokyo and 19th century Kagoshima. The novel follows Isla Mackenzie, a young Scottish woman who travels to Japan to explore her family's Japanese heritage. While staying in her family's old home in the picturesque city of Kagoshima, she is unexpectedly transported back to 1877 during the Satsuma Rebellion, a significant and turbulent period in the region's history. There she meets her ancestors and a samurai named Keiichiro Maeda. Hope I said that right. Whose story is closely connected to both the rebellion and Isla's own journey. As Isla adjusts to life in this unfamiliar time, she forms deep connections with the local people, culture, and the natural beauty of Kagoshima, from its volcanic landscapes to the warmth of its community. The novel thoughtfully explores the tension between modern identity and traditional heritage as Isla tries to balance her knowledge of the future with the realities of the past. Along the way, she faces questions about belonging, family ties, and how to reconcile two very different worlds. At its core, Gate to Kagoshima is a story about searching for home, not just a place, but a sense of identity. It deals with themes of healing, reconciliation, and the enduring bonds that connect us to our families and cultures. Poppy Kuroki's descriptive prose brings Kagoshima vividly to life, making it a perfect read for those who enjoy immersive settings and emotionally rich storytelling. Fans of historical fiction with elements of fantasy and romance, such as Outlander by Diana Gabaldon, will find much to appreciate here. Overall, Keita Kagoshima is a tender and thoughtful novel for anyone who has ever wondered about their roots or felt caught between two worlds. It reminds us that sometimes the way forward is found by looking back, even through time itself. So each of these novels, in its own magical or tender way, explores how stepping into the unknown can lead to healing, self-acceptance, and a truer sense of belonging. So next, I have my 4 titles on my to-be-read list. So the first, no surprise, Ali Hazelwood's problematic summer romance, which offers a tantalizing blend of opposites attract, chemistry, and emotional depth. Set against the stunning backdrop of a Sicilian villa, the story follows Maya, a 23-year-old grad student, and Connor, a 38-year-old biotech professional, and her brother's best friend. Despite their undeniable attraction, their age difference and power dynamics make any relationship between them seemingly problematic. However, as they spend time together during a destination wedding, Maya discovers that Connor may be hiding something, and what begins as a fleeting summer fling evolves into a profound connection. Hazelwood's signature style, combining steamy romance and emotional complexity, makes this novel a compelling read for fans of contemporary romance. So my next title is Jackie Lau's Time Loops and Meet Cutes. It's a delightful twist on the time loop trope, infused with humor and heart. The story centers on Noelle, a workaholic engineer who finds herself reliving the same Friday over and over. After eating enchanted dumplings, each repetition offers her a chance to reassess her life, relationships, and career. As she navigates this endless Friday, she meets Cam, a charming brewery owner who doesn't remember her from one loop to the next. Their evolving interactions add a layer of romantic intrigue to the narrative. Lau's writing is praised for its warmth and wit, making this novel an engaging choice for readers who enjoy lighthearted romantic comedies with a touch of magic. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Groundhog Day. Okay, the third one on my to-be-read list, of course, Catherine Center. She never fails. Catherine Center's The Love Haters is a poignant exploration of love, self-acceptance, and personal growth. Katie Vaughn, a video producer, is tasked with profiling Tom Hutchison, Coast Guard rescue swimmer in Key West. Despite her initial reluctance and personal insecurities, Katie embarks on a journey that challenges her fears and opens her heart. Center's narrative delves into themes of body image and vulnerability, offering a heartfelt story that resonates with readers seeking depth and authenticity in romantic fiction. So my last one is actually a nonfiction, and I did start this one, but it's the let them theory. So Mel Robbins, who is a coach and motivational speaker, introduces a transformative approach to personal empowerment and emotional well-being. The central idea is summed up in 2 simple words: let them. Robbins encourages readers to stop trying to control others' behavior and instead focus on how they respond to it. This mindset shifts aims to ease stress, reduce anxiety, and create healthier relationships by setting boundaries and embracing acceptance. Through stories and examples, Robbins offers practical tools to help people find peace, let go of unnecessary conflict, and prioritize their own well-being. Whether you're dealing with difficult people or just tired of overthinking, the Let Them theory delivers a fresh and freeing perspective on how to move through life with more clarity and calm. And that's my 8 titles.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is a different mic. Can you hear me okay?
No,
Uh,
maybe just pass that other mic.
better? Oh, my goodness. Much better. Okay, so I am going to start with 3 Days in June by Tyler. 3 Days in June is the wonderful Anne Tyler's 25th novel. And it's a very short one. At just 176 pages, it's concise, but yet deeply resonating exploration of family, love, and personal growth. Set over the course of a chaotic weekend, a wedding weekend in Baltimore, which is where most of Anne Tyler's books are actually set. The story centers on 61-year-old Gail Baines. the very socially awkward mother of the bride. The day before her daughter Debbie's wedding, Gail faces some very unexpected challenges. She first loses her job. Then she is excluded from the bride's spa day. And then she is surprised by the sudden arrival of her ex-husband, Max, who not only brings a stray cat, but he does not bring a suit and he has no place to stay. So as the weekend unfolds, Gail navigates all of these disruptions. And while she reflects on her past with Max, with her daughter, and the complexities of their relationships. The narrative delves into the themes of love, forgiveness, and the intricate dynamics of family life. So I did this book, and some of you are here. We did this book in the evening book circle, and there was quite a lot of disagreement about the merits of the book. I still maintain that I love this book. Her writing shines with her trademark wit and empathy. And if you've ever read an Anne Tyler book, that's what it's about. It's really about her writing, and it's about her characters. She masterfully captures the nuances of human relationships, and she turns very ordinary moments into these profound reflections on life and on love. I really like the interplay between Gail's very, sometimes odd, introspective nature and Max's spontaneous charm, which both of these things adds a lot of depth to the characters, making their interactions both humorous and also very poignant at times. So even though the novel's pacing is very brisk, as I said, it's a very short novel, it does allow for this meaningful character development. And while the plot may seem very straightforward, like it's right there, it's a very rich character study. And her subtle observations make the book very compelling, in my opinion. So if you're drawn to stories that feature quirky characters, and I am, I loved, what's it called, the story of Ove and Eleanor Oliphant. Oliphant is...
Absolutely.
I can't remember the titles, it's been a while, but it's that kind of feel when you read this book. So it features quirky characters while exploring the complexities of family dynamics. 3 Days in June is a must read, and it's a great summer read, I think. Her ability to blend both humor with heartfelt moments create this very engaging but thought-provoking narrative, but also a light read. So it's got two things going for it. Again, perfect for the summer. So whether you're familiar with her previous works or to her writing, this novel offers a fresh but very familiar perspective on the possibility of second chances. So I encourage you all to give it a try. My second book is called The Frozen River, and it's by Ariel Lawhon. If this book is a gripping historical mystery, inspired by the real-life diary of someone by the name of Martha Ballard, an 18th century midwife, who not only she recorded everything in her diary, not only in the 816 births she attended to, she never lost a patient. She never lost a single mother, which given the time, given the fact that it's the 18th century and it's a small town, is really an unbelievable feat. So that in itself was a reason for me to pick up this book. But also, she defied the legal system to seek justice for both a man's murder and a woman's rape. It's set in 1789 Maine, and the novel immerses readers in a time when women's voices were mostly silenced and gender roles were very well defined. It won Best Mystery Novel of 2024, And it was a Good Morning America book club pick. I actually have discovered Good Morning America book club picks, and I have to say, I really, really like these books. I've read quite a few now. Who was it, Danielle, who picked one as well? Yeah. So I recommend, look online, look for Good Morning America book club picks, because the stories are really, really great. So the story takes place in the small town of Hallowell, where Martha Ballard is more than just a midwife. She's the community's healer and the confidant. When a man's body is discovered frozen in the Kennebec River, Martha is called upon to examine it. The deceased, Joshua Burgess, has been accused of raping Rebecca Foster, the preacher's wife. As Martha delves into these are all facts. This is part of history. As Martha delves into the circumstances surrounding Burgess's death, she uncovers a web of secrets and injustices that threaten to unravel her community. Her diary, a meticulous record of all the births, the deaths, and the local events, becomes a crucial piece of evidence in the ensuing trial and scandal. So I love this book. I could not put it down. I encourage you, anybody who loves historical mysteries, who likes literary mysteries, I'm sure will also like this book. Lawhon masterfully blends historical facts with compelling fiction, creating a narrative that is both engaging and thought-provoking. Martha Ballard emerges as a strong, empathetic protagonist who challenges the constraints of her time. The novel's atmospheric setting, rich with historical detail, transports readers to a time when women had very, very limited power, yet individuals like Martha found ways to make their voices heard. So if you're drawn to stories that center on strong, intelligent women navigating historical injustice, The Frozen River delivers in full. It's not just a murder mystery. The author resurrects an unsung woman heroine in history and gives her a voice. It's a book for readers who like literary historical mysteries featuring courtroom drama, feminist themes, and morally complex tales. My third book is called Homeseeking by Carissa Chen. Homeseeking is Carissa Chen's debut novel that has garnered widespread acclaim and was selected, wait for it, as a Good Morning America book club pick. This sweeping multi-generational saga, here it is, explores the enduring power of love and the complex journey of finding home and what that all means. So Homeseeking follows the lives of childhood sweethearts, Hai Wen and Suchi, who meet in 1930 Shanghai. Their deep bond is abruptly severed in 1947, when Hai Wen secretly enlists in the Nationalist Army, goes off to war, leaving behind only his violin and a note, "Please forgive me." Over the next 6 decades, the novel traces their very, very separate paths through war-torn China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and then eventually to Los Angeles, where they reunite in 2008. So despite the passage of time and the complexities of their individual lives, their connection remains a poignant thread, illustrating how both love and memory can transcend borders and time. Critics have lauded Homeseeking for its emotional depth and historical richness. In her author's note, Chen reveals that the novel was influenced by the experiences of her late grandfather, who was separated from his mother during the Chinese Civil War and was unable to see her before her death. A photograph of her grandfather weeping at his mother's grave deeply impacted Chen and inspired her to explore the themes of exile, loss, and the longing for home in her writing. While the novel is a work of fiction, it is rooted in the real emotional and historical experiences of Chinese exiles during that era. The novel structure, moving between different time periods and different perspectives, allows readers to witness the characters' growth and the impact of historical upheavals upon their lives. Homeseeking is much more than just a love story. It's a really profound exploration of identity, displacement, and the search for home. Chan's lyrical prose and her vivid storytelling creates a narrative that is both intimate and expansive, and whether you're interested in historical fiction or stories about the immigrant experience, Homeseeking offers a compelling and enriching read. My fourth book is the story She Left Behind, another good summer read, I feel. And it is Patty Callahan's Henry's latest novel. I don't know how many of you read her previous novel, The Secret Book of Flora Lee. I love that book. And this has got that same kind of feel to it. It's like The Secret Book of Flora Lee. It is a literary mystery about lost loved ones and the power of storytelling to uncover hidden truths and heal deep wounds. So the story starts in 1927 with Bronwyn Newcastle Fordham, who is a child prodigy and acclaimed author, who writes a book, I think at the age of 11 or 12, and then mysteriously disappears from her home in South Carolina. Long after she's written it, leaving behind a sequel to her best-selling book, written in a very unique and untranslatable language. So decades later, like when she leaves, she disappears from her home. She has a young daughter. She had a husband. Decades later, in 1952, her daughter Clara was also not a writer, but she's an illustrator. She's a Caldecott-winning illustrator, and she's a single mother. Is contacted by the name by someone from London by the name of Charlie Jameson, who has discovered Bronwyn's lost papers in his father's library. Clara travels to England with her very asthmatic daughter, Winnie, and there's a whole segment that takes place during the infamous Great Smog of London. So there's a lot of background to that. So while in London, Clara seeks answers about her mother's disappearance and the meaning of all these lost words. And the journey leads them to the Lake District, where the secrets about her mother's life and legacy begin to unravel. So the story She Left Behind is really a beautifully crafted novel that delves into the themes of family, but also, as I said, the power of storytelling and books. Henry's lyrical prose brings the characters and settings to life, immersing readers in the emotional landscape of Clara's quest. It has a dual timeline, and the structure enriches the narrative, allowing readers to experience the unfolding mystery alongside Clara and give you a lot of background information about Clara's life growing up without a mother. If you're drawn to stories that explore the complexities of a mother-daughter relationship, both Clara's relationship with her own mother, Bronwyn, but also her relationship with her young daughter, Winnie, and you love the allure of literary mysteries, the story She Left Behind is really a must-read, great summer read. Henry's evocative storytelling and richly developed characters will really just captivate your heart and mind, just like her previous book did, in my opinion. This novel is a testament to the enduring power of love, legacy, and the stories that shape our lives. So now I'll talk very briefly about my next four selections. The first one is called Like Mother by Susan Rieger. I love this book, and for those of you who have been attending our Books and Bites series, I will be reviewing this book in greater detail in October. So I'm hoping you will all join me for that discussion. So this book is another compelling family saga that delves into the complexities of motherhood, identity, and all the secrets that shape us. The story spans 3 generations of women, beginning with Lila Pereira, who is a powerful media executive in 1960s Detroit, who rises to prominence while leaving her 3 daughters in the care of others. Her youngest daughter is Grace, and Grace feels abandoned and grows up to be a very successful reporter, and even publishes a best-selling book about her mother, a tell-all book about her mother. So in the process, Grace starts uncovering very, very unsettling truths about her family's past, including the very, very mysterious fate of her grandmother, who was committed to an asylum when Lila was a child, but then everybody has lost track of. Rieger masterfully weaves a narrative that explores the intricate dynamics of family relationships, while also exploring that inherent need to really find out, like, where did we come from? What is our past? In order that we can sort of make shape of our own life. With richly developed characters and a plot that keeps readers engaged, Like Mother is a poignant exploration of how the past continues to influence the present. And I love contemplating the title and the relationship of this title, Like Mother, to what the saying that we use, like mother, like daughter. And it's just very, very interesting to try and unpack that, and I hope to do more of that when I do my talk in the fall. The next book is Family by Lori Frankel. Family, and Like Mother is interesting play on the titles. Is a very witty. I love the writing. I love Lori Frankel's writing. It's a witty and heartfelt novel that explores the complexities of, again, modern family dynamics. The story centers on India Allwood, a very successful actress and adoptive mother of 10-year-old twins, Big and Jack. When India publicly criticizes her latest film, which was a portrayal of adoption as a tragedy, she ignites a media firestorm, drawing attention to her own very unconventional family history, which is beautifully unraveled during the course of the book. As the narrative unfolds, India grapples with public scrutiny, personal choices, and the intricate relationships that define her family. Frankel's novel is a very thought-provoking read that challenges conventional notions of family with very sharp dialogue. The dialogue is superb, and a very compelling storyline with a satisfying ending. Family offers a fresh perspective on adoption and all of the narratives that we construct around it. Forgot to show you Like Mother. There's the cover of that book. And then Family by Lori Frankel. And then the next book is The God of the Woods. Whoops. By Liz Moore. A very unexpected good read, I must say, because didn't strike me as something that I wanted to read, but I have to say that it was very surprising. So The God of the Woods is a fast-paced, and again, it's a literary thriller, as opposed to just a thriller, set in the Adirondack Mountains in 1975. So the story begins with the very mysterious disappearance of 13-year-old Barbara Van Laar. from her family's prestigious summer camp called Emerson Camp. This event echoes the early vanishing of her older brother Bear 14 years earlier. As the investigation unfolds, the narrative shifts between all the various characters. There's a camp director, there's Barbara Spunkfate, there's an investigator, the first female investigator on the local police force. And through all of these perspectives, Moore delves into the themes of privilege, class, and the complexities of family dynamics. The novel's atmospheric setting and intricate character development creates a very suspenseful and emotionally resonating story, and a very interesting but satisfying ending. So I really enjoyed that book. And finally, I'm going to end with another book that I just did in the evening book circle called Isola. Again, not necessarily a book that I normally would pick up. It's by Allegra Goodman, and I love this book so much. It's a gripping historical novel based again, similar to like the book The Frozen River that I just mentioned, that reimagines the life of a true life character. The character is, or the woman's name is Marguerite de la Roque de Roberval, who was a 16th century French noblewoman who was abandoned on a remote island off the coast of Newfoundland. This actually happened. Orphaned at a very young age, she's a noblewoman, and under the guardianship of her very cruel cousin, Marguerite is coerced into joining an expedition to the New World. On this voyage, she falls in love with the captain's and her guardian's secretary, which leads to their punishment. They are just marooned in this desolate, cold island, uninhabited, and they are left there, presumably to die, but the book chronicles her survival, her very harrowing journey of survival, resilience, but also self-discovery as she navigates the challenges of the harsh environment and also being alone. So Allegra Goodman masterfully blends historical events with rich character development, creating a narrative that is both intimate but epic. Through Marguerite's eyes, readers experience the complexities of 16th century life in Europe, gender dynamics, the meaning of faith, and the indomitable human spirit. So on that note, thank you very much. And I believe that concludes our event. I'm going to pass it back to Jim.
So I just wanted to thank my colleagues who every year agree to participate, and I plead and I smile and I bring treats in, and it's usually their pleasure to participate. So I just want to give them a big shout out because every year they do say yes. And we hope after the end of this program that you found something in the huge list of titles that we've given you that would be interesting for you to pick up over the summer, to explore a new genre perhaps, or a new author that you haven't heard of. And if you have any questions for us, we're here. If you have anything you want to add, go ahead.
I just want to make a comment to thank you so much for inspiring, encouraging, and really, this is a wonderful event, and we really appreciate it. And thank you so much.
Thank you.